yet. Well. Here we go. We are live and in person. I'm excited that we've got it's the end of the day. Kim Ressler, founder of Snips Nutrition. Pronounce it for me.
Nutrigenomics. So
Nutrigenomics.
Genomics.
You know, how many times have we talked and I haven't been able to get that down yet? So this is the end of we're coming to the end of National Nutrition Month, and I thought it would be a good idea to bring you on towards the end. This is the last, official presentation that I'm doing, but we spent the whole month going over nutrition, the importance of nutrition, things that you can do, history of nutrition. But I wanted to save you, because you're mine, all mine. I want to just save you for the end, because we live in a different society now, and we have technology that we've never had before, and to help bump up our nutrition, we have stem cells and peptides, and that's kind of nutrition. But this is actual nutrition. This is the stuff that's feeding the body. But I would like to introduce Kim Ressler and tell everyone your story, because it's amazing the way that this has come to be. There's always a great story behind the story.
Hi, Bill. Dr. Bill. It's great to be here. Thank you. Oh, wow. Well, my story, I am the mother to 4 children, living in Southern California. And suddenly in my late 30s, early 40s, I had an avalanche of health issues. My blood work looked normal. Everybody just kept sending me out the door, but I didn't feel well. My energy was so depleted. My sleep was terrible. Then it was my digestion. Then it was just symptom after symptom kept compounding. And I was in look of answers. I was looking for them, and I was trying everything. Behind the wall, I was appearing to everybody that I was fine, but I was literally just like dying inside because I didn't feel well. So over the next 11 years, because that's what it took me to discover the power of nutrigenomics, which we'll talk about. But, I tried everything. Saw an Ayurveda provider for over a full year. Did an Ayurveda, the strict Ayurveda diet. I went vegan. I did crazy cleanses, electromagnetic therapy. You name it, I tried it. I just wanted to feel better. Suddenly then, so as we progressed through these 11 years, I was in my very early 40s, and perimenopausal symptoms like you can't believe, the hot flashes, the night sweats. And I was like, is this what life is supposed to be? I'm like too young for all of this. Because they say, you look at your family and who dealt with different things. And I of course called my mother, and when did you hit menopause? Well, it wasn't until her 50s. It was like, something's off with me. So it wasn't until I got a phone call in 2014 from a girlfriend, and this will resonate with a lot of individuals that may be listening to this. And she said, my son has ADHD and I refuse to put him on medication. I think it's a genetic thing. And that was the first time I ever understood that genetics could truly impact. And it's not that I never knew that we could be in control of what we inherited from our parents. And so I said, you've got to keep me posted, because again, this was wild new science to me. And it took her about 9 months, $10,000. They addressed one gene, and it's the methylation gene, which everybody's talking about. And they took the child off of gluten. Night and day difference. I was like, wow, I wonder if this could be me. So what nutrigenomics is it's been around for a long time. It's very validated in science, but it's the study of you and so your genetics and the nutrients that your body needs when you have a common and standard, I would call them common genetic variants to function optimally. And they're actionable, which means that we can give ourselves these nutrients to make them work. So it's like, that's just the most fascinating thing. So think about that. If you're a parent, I was sitting here going, wow, you literally changed this child's behavior at school because he was acting out in school, not getting good grades, et cetera, by addressing with nutrition, not a pharmaceutical, but nutrition and diet, simple diet modifications. I was like, that's fascinating. So in 2018 is truly when I started to very much step into it. And when I addressed my genetics, it was ping, ping, ping. And when I say that, it was energy, sleep, digestion. My skin changed. The dark circles that I used to have under my eyes disappeared. It was just better energy all the way around. Those hot flashes and night sweats, I don't get them, and I'm in my 50s now.
No, you just go on, girl. Don't be telling lies on my channel over here. I have a question for you.
Yep.
So when you first got your report back, and I recently got mine back over, and this is why I'm asking the question. Is, did anything shock you?
Yeah, it did. Well, it did, but it didn't. I mean, when I looked at it, it was like, oh my gosh, I have all these heart markers. And it was a little scary, but then again, it was almost an aha moment because my grandmother she passed away from congestive heart failure. My grandfather passed away from coronary artery disease. And so, I mean, hello, we inherit from our ancestors. We just do. And so it was like this aha moment, but my genetics didn't define me. Now I knew exactly what I needed to do to offset. And we just did a big call, or we did some research, and we did a call about cardiovascular health. And coronary artery disease is 50% genetically driven, 50% lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. And then they also say that if you understood these things, especially with heart health, and you take and implement the offsets, the lifestyle dietary changes, you can literally gain up to 20 years longer of healthy living. That's impressive, right?
Not surviving through life, sitting in the wheelchair in the corner, active living to what you're doing. And that's, yep. Yeah. How much is that worth?
Well, I mean, what's life worth? I mean, that's what I kept saying to myself when I didn't feel well. I was like, is this really what, I mean, it was like one day, it was like the light turned off and I was like, okay, I don't feel well. And then it's like the next light switch because of the symptoms. It was an avalanche of and they just kept building on each other. So when I understood that my genetics could literally change, I mean, like they could dictate what I needed and why. And when I started to implement this into my life, it was such a difference. This is why I've made it my passion and mission to really educate people that your genetics are you and you're the only one that is you. We just had 2 providers that we swabbed that were twin brothers, and they kept saying, everybody says they're doing customization, but nobody is. And these two twin brothers that are providers, they both got their formulas, and their genetics are a little different. Their formulas are different. They said this is the first time they've ever seen it because everybody always tells them they can customize. So yes, that's what I've made my mission in life, to educate people that you can empower yourself to live healthier. And I want to do it in a cost-effective way where you don't need a PhD to understand it. And it's you're not going to break the bank doing it. And it really kind of starts to shed a light when you see what we have the technology to do in the cost-effective way that we do about the entire supplement industry, quite frankly. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting because when I first ran into you, when Glenn Depke said, we were both speaking at his menopause event, and I got there late because I was working, and I popped in, and you were, I think you were getting ready to present, and I'm like, okay, well, what's this? And I'm listening to you talk, and I'm smiling. I'm in the back, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. and I thought the same thing, because I remember 15 years ago, somebody else was popping off and they were going, customized by your genetics. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a really cool idea. And it wasn't customized, and I don't even think it was actionable genetics, and I don't know what they were really doing, but it just didn't work. So we had that old school, like, yeah, sure you did that, Kim. How are you really doing it? And then after talking to you initially, I'm like, this is really cool, because you get your report and the science off of the genome project. So we know that the actionable, and when we talk about actionable genetics, so if you have trisomy 13, or you have something that's solid genetics, it's not going to change, but most of the genes that we can influence.
Well, there's about 250. I mean, we've got tens of thousands of SNPs in our body, or genes, right? But there's so many that are highly actionable, and they're very, very common. And they're when I say actionable, it means that you can influence them to either respond properly or not to work, right? Whatever. But you can influence those with the proper nutrients, or let's say exercise, or fresh water, or etc. So we specifically go after these very commonly actionable genes. We aren't going after disease, but we're going after genes that impact body systems that ultimately impact adult onset disease, right? Because if you think about it, Bill, let's talk about it like this. None of us truly, unless we had some rare genetic mutation or variation, we didn't come out of our mother's wombs. And I like to say it like this so people can start to understand actionable genes. And please tell me if you don't understand it this way. But I didn't come out of my mother's womb with chronic inflammation, chronic gut issues, anxiety, and depression. I didn't. This is life. This is life, right? This is the beating up that we do to ourselves based on processed foods, stress, etc., right? So we have genes that impact all of these systems in our body, and we can optimize their expression. So those genes stopped working optimally, maybe because there was a big fire recently, and we were breathing in a lot of chemicals, the byproduct, the epoxides from the air. Well, all of a sudden, because I breathed in a lot of that, maybe my body's having a harder time with detox, et cetera. But that could switch those genes to working or not to working. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent way to put that.
So we just want to come back in and optimize them.
Yeah, to almost bring us back to basic. Because I'll tell you, I was probably like you when you first saw your test. On my test, it came back with cardiovascular issues. I have hypercholesterolemia. Had it ever since I was taking blood tests. I have and I forget which gene group it is, but I'm presupposed to having a high BMI, putting on fat very easily, everything that's around with that, and vitamin D. So I looked at this test, and knowing me, I've never been heavy in my life. I've always worked out, and I've done, so I don't. There's probably times when I was bigger than others. There was a brief time of the 80s of getting yoked that I was about 220, but it was, creatine induced and gym induced stuff over there. But so that was one thing. So if I had that genetic, I said, that's a perfect example of epigenetics. About my lifestyle overcame my presupposition of what I should be. But then I also looked at, knowing that I had cholesterol. I don't have a problem making it. It's clearing it. So fixing that, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. And then my vitamin D um, processing, or being able to process vitamin D.
Mhm.
Well, I'm two shades away from transparent. And other than that, so I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, this stuff is amazing. And, when I deal with a lot of the parents will come in and they want to know about the mother effer gene for methylation, because spectrum disorders, ADHD, and a bunch of other stuff with methylation. And I'm like, yeah, this is the real deal. I said, this is exactly what I would do. If you're looking for uh, truly specific for you,
Mhm.
and not everybody needs truly specific for them, but you don't know, um, for this basically the same price as you would put out for another high nutraceutical or another good nutraceutical,
Yep.
it's kind of a no-brainer, because you have the information now, and so you can make, like I said, the exercise, the diet. I'm gluten free. Whatever you have to do um, to get all that stuff going. So it's amazing. I became a fan, and I think everybody should do that for the price
Well, I
and
mean, I
the
think the thing
quality.
is it's time to cut through the noise. It's time to stop. I do believe the NIH says that by 2030, the gold standard will be personalized. We're there. We're here now. We can do it, and we can do it in a cost affordable way. And it's beyond methylation. You can't just address methylation. If you aren't addressing oxidative stress and inflammation, you're never going to get to where you want to be by addressing that methylation. So we actually can take all of that and put it into one to make it really a very, very powerful nutraceutical product. And as you said, yeah, I can do it into one for the individual. And I don't know. There's a supplement that I do buy for my daughter that she really loves. It's $79 and for one thing. So I'm just saying that the fact that we can do the customization for what we can do it for is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I was shocked as well,
Mhm.
because if you're going to take supplements, you want to take high quality stuff that's going on, because you want to make sure that it's absorbed. And I've said that for decades, because you can go to insert big box store name here, or franchise. They make supplement, like multi-day supplement, that is made to process quickly and inexpensively. They're not really made for optimum, digestion and absorption. And so you're going to pay a certain price to make sure that you get the nutrients are in there. But if you don't know if you have a genetic predisposition, then you don't know what extra stuff that you may need or not need, or sleep pattern that you should be in, or you have to take. You don't know, you don't have the whole directions. Your
You don't have your own roadmap.
your
You don't have
instruction
your
manual.
roadmap. Well, it's just like very interesting. And so you're familiar with CoQ10, obviously.
Yeah.
But people don't realize there's a gene. It was that dictates: do you need ubiquinone, ubiquinol, or a combination of both? Our genetics tell us what we need, why we need it, in what format, in what dose, with what proper cofactors. And that is what nutrigenomics brings to the table to put it together for an individual. Nutrigenomics is not new. It's been one of those things for the individual who went to a genetics doctor, mapped their genes, like I said, paid $10,000 or more, and then they started working on pathways. And maybe it was month one, three to six supplements. Come back month two, 3 to 6 more. Come back month three. Suddenly you're on 70 plus supplements. It's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell me about pill fatigue. Tell me about cost and expense. And then not only that, when you're buying off the shelf, they're not dosed just for you. So now we're coming to a dosing thing. So now you've got these schedules of what you take, when you take it. Do you have to break it in half? I mean, the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, supplementation is a spoke in the wheel. It's not the end all be all. I want to make supplementation easy. Here's your foundational product. Does it mean that's the end all be all? No. But this is you foundationally where you need to support yourself for long-term longevity and health, heart health, detox, inflammation, weight management, energy, mood, cognitive function, gut health. It comes in and supports all these areas. Now, like I said, my daughter, she's an overachieving, my youngest, overachieving, high stressing 17-year-old who's currently prepping for the SAT. Nothing less than an A is good for her, right? Moms can, you've got it. You've got these athletes that are this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of lives in this world of stress impacts us, guys. It just does. And I was watching her she's predisposed to gut issues. It tells me in her genetics. So in addition to her customized, I do a very specific structured aloe, night and day difference. Those are the two things that she takes, night and day difference.
And you'll have that all the time. So with getting, like you said, the baseline, in my mind, what I say is that you plug the holes on the boat. So you could be taking everything that in, but if your genetics are that you need more, or like the ubiquinone, which is CoQ10, that everybody needs something of that. Some of us carry the enzyme that will convert one to the other that makes it effective. Some of us don't. And if you don't, you're taking this stuff, but you're not getting any result. It's like insulin resistance. You're eating the sugar, but you can't get it into the cell, and you're on the outside. I'm taking all the stuff. Why am I not getting the results? And it's because you're taking the question mark out of your body so that you can take the question mark off the plate of whether you're getting your baseline stuff. Then if you are an athlete or you're going through a stress thing, okay, you know what? I would add on some adaptocrines. And if you know that you've got issues, maybe for a while you're doing that. Maybe you'll do the aloe vera or something like that. But when your baseline is covered, you're not going to sink, and you're not going to pour, good money after bad, and you're not able to get the results that you can. So I just love.
Yeah.
It's all about foundations.
Mm-hmm.
And
I am a big believer. You give the body what it needs. The body does what it needs to do naturally. It just does.
Yeah,
it does.
It
Unbeknownst to me, Dr. Bill, I had gone 11 years undiagnosed and misdiagnosed with an autoimmune and another condition. And I live symptom free now and pharmaceutical free. I guess I should say that.
So that's what I want people to hear from someone that's been there and did that. Said it's possible, because so many times they go to a doctor, well-meaning doctor, that comes out and just says, well, of course you feel like that. You're getting older.
Right.
Well, of course you feel like that. You have that. Well, you're just going to have to learn to live with it. And is there times like that? But people give up way too soon. And
well, I think, but I mean, I understand that they give up way too soon, because it truly, I mean, it's frustrating when you're looking for answers, and just like me, my blood work looked normal, and they're like, out you go. So, I mean, I kept fighting to feel better, right? But we do. I mean, I was just recently with somebody who's 39 years old, and he starts to tell me he's on 6 different medications. And I'm like, you're 39 years old, you're on 6 different medications? I'm like, seriously? And I'm like, and that's acceptable? No. That should be, I mean, believe me, I understand life happens and things happen. And medication is good when needed, right? There's reasons for it, but food should be our medicine. Laughter, happiness, fresh air, good water. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the things that should be our medicine.
No, that's exactly right. And the problem is the people that don't understand that. So they're going to a conventional doctor and it's going through there, and they hear that it's normal. That's the thing that gets me is when people are saying, I'll go back to Glenn's stuff. They'll say, "Oh, well, you have menopause," and so you get night sweats and uh, mood swings and brain fog and aches and pains. Well, that's normal. Oh, well, why would you go and try and fix normal? Well, this is how it's supposed to feel. And that becomes the consensus, and that becomes a lie that gets out there. So nobody even will question it.
And
So
that's not normal. That's not more normal. That's your metabolic health is off. And Glenn, I mean, I love how Glenn teaches to that about your axis and everything else. But again, give the body what it needs. The body comes back to homeostasis. Yes, is just one thing going to be the right thing? No. But starting with your genetics and understanding that is such a huge leap forward to that goal, and getting your body at the foundational level what your body needs. Then from there, if it's not enough, then you could add one or two things in. And now we're not overwhelmed. We're not chasing squirrels, as I say. You're not listening to your neighbor Judy, who said this worked for her and you tried it like 6 times and it was so expensive and it didn't do anything for you. Now you know.
no, or TikTok. The challenge and the saddest thing that I see is people that they're grasping at straws because they want something. They saw this on TikTok and they Googled this. And like you said, their neighbor said, well, my cousin's third, child tried this once and it helped for her. Well, really, what did they do? And not having the background and all those things might work for that person because again, we're all individual. So we bring different things to the table. And that's why I'm a big fan of the product. We're launching that out in our business, today, because I want the people that want to look deeper and they want to take that question mark off there to have that availability. And I'll post the link on this when we finish up.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted to have a conversation with you, have the world kind of learn a little bit more about that. There's good technology. And the problem that I have,
science back. It's completely it's all in science back too.
that's it, because it's funny because there's so much cutting edge stuff now that it's hard to believe. And there's so much bullshit that is really easy to believe. And sometimes you can't tell the difference. So I wanted to have this on. So this is something that I checked out, just like everybody that knows me says, I do not put my name. I don't back anything that I don't have an intimate working with. And other than the female hormone supplements, I try everything else before I recommend it. I'll say things like, well, I'm looking at that. We're doing some research. I'm talking that until I can confidently back behind that, because it's my reputation, my patients, people that I'm a chiropractor, so I'm touchy feely. I want everybody to feel good. And I'm wholeheartedly on board with this. My daughters are starting this soon because what better way? Most people know about my NATO girl, so she's Spectrum-E and stuff like that. I want to see that, that mother effort gene, and there's genes that she's adopted that I don't know what her genes are. I don't know the history.
Right.
And if
Can
we can
I read to you from a nutritionist and chiropractor out of Dallas, Texas, that just sent me an email? Can I read what she shared?
Yeah.
Do we have time for that?
For you, anything.
Okay. She says, regarding the code complex, Reviews are just now coming in after 3 to 4 months, the 3 to 4 month mark. All are so very positive, but this must not be surprising to you. People I haven't seen in a while are asking what I'm doing different, and I'm doing nothing but the code complex. She goes, I look different. I look healthier. Patient responses. Completely eliminated my sugar, which was a lifelong addiction. I lost 10 pounds. Sleeping is better than it's been in years. My focus and concentration have dramatically improved. Feel much calmer, much more regular bowel function. And she goes, and the stories go on and on.
um, it's sad that we forget what normal is supposed to feel like. I mean, waking up excited and awake, not dragging this, not doing this, not having a little bit of brain fog, not having dips of energy at 3 o'clock, you know, being backed up and just not releasing the bowel content as well as we should. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And with the technology now, everybody's going to have that ability to step in, because you're completing your baseline. You're plugging the holes in the boat.
I think the thing that's really exciting about understanding, well, let's talk about this, and let's just bring it right out. 23andMe right now, what's happening? I think we should.
Yep.
And people are apprehensive about that, and I totally and wholeheartedly understand that. We are completely HIPAA compliant. The beautiful thing about genetics, it's a one and done test. Your genes don't test, or they don't change. I mean, but we're completely HIPAA compliant, and we are just looking at actionable genes so that we can formulate. There's a full response on that, but we aren't in the data collection business. We're not looking to sell information. Our clients have full control over that as well. So that's a beautiful thing, because I'm sorry, but I feel like with the current situation of what's going on in the world, we have to bring that up, because I think your information is your information, and it's important.
Back. So what exactly is going on?
Oh, 23andMe has gone bankrupt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. So I figured, I mean, if we're talking genetics, let's be real of what's happening in the world right now. Their business model was truly about capturing data. Now there's good kinds of capturing data, and there's not, right? I mean, some is to capture data to move science forward, but I believe that their business model was truly to use, maybe, to use data and other, I don't know. I'm not in 23andMe's shoes, but that is what, they're talking about, is selling the data, and they've been encouraging people to go in and remove their data.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I figure, especially for your educated clients and that are on here listening, and to understand and know that is, we're truly looking at genetics that impact you, actionable genes, not full genome. We're not going after disease genes. We're going after pathways that impact us in adult onset disease in general, that impact all these pathways, but you're in charge of your data. We're not looking to sell it. That's not what we're doing. We need just your data so that we can custom formulate for an individual.
Now,
Sorry, I threw you for that one, but that one's coming up, and a lot of people are concerned.
Yeah, I could see that, because I know that there was a lot of people were talking about, where's the DNA show. I would always joke. I said, well, I'm going to wake up in a murder file in Maine sometime over the Great Lobster murder, but I joked about that. I didn't know it was an actual that they were selling them from. I don't watch a lot of news, obviously, so
that's okay. That's all right. Oh, well, I just educated you on that. So we're HIPAA compliant. It's in an individual's portal. It's a one and done test. And after that, I mean, that's when people get to work with their providers on blood work is a snapshot of time. And our entire panel literally lines up with blood work. So standard common blood work that you would do once a year, twice a year, you can start to track that based on your, what your own health goals are.
Yeah, I just did that. I just took my baseline yesterday.
Awesome.
And so I'm gonna wait the 3 or 4 months,
4 months.
and then I'll reshoot it again, probably every trimester, probably every 4 months or so
Every 4
throughout
months.
the year,
Mhm.
and then just kind of look to see like that. I'm very interested in my cholesterol. Um, I have pretty good blood markers on my. I mean, I have high cholesterol, but
The good
um,
cholesterol.
good ratios, and everything else. And it's interesting because I don't have good genetics at all. Both my parents, they died at 63. My older sister died at 59.
Oh, wow.
So, I say my gene pool is a very shallow pond. But again, different lifestyles as well. So if we got 50% of this stuff is at least is within my control to influence in the right direction, I'm all in. And I'm excited for like you said, the kids, because back in my day when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of the childhood stuff. We didn't have the terrible, disgusting nutrition. We didn't have, we had toxins, but not to the level that we're doing now. We were outside playing. They're not doing all those things are influencing in the wrong way the genetics. And if you come out of that with bad genetics and bad lifestyle habits, you're just kind of screwed. And it would be tough to feel like you're 40 when you're 12 or 15 years old. So
Well, that's kind of the passion behind all of this for me. I mean, if we know that children that are ADHD are more prone to anxiety and depression. If some of that could be offset based on genetics, and understanding that nutrition could impact them, how could we change these children's lives at a younger time when in their development stages? If we knew some of these things younger, we would make different choices. Not only that, if you know your genetics and you're getting ready to go in for a surgery, understanding that certain bodies can react to maybe anesthesia in one way, it just sets you up. Understanding your own genetics can set you up to heal quicker, feel better longer, and that's what we're after.
No, exactly. So we're going to have a lot more about this. If you guys just check out in the comments, we'll have the link if you want to learn more about Kim's company and how it works out. And to me, it's a no-brainer. It's basically the same cost as you would, if not less than you would spend monthly on your normal supplements, but these are yours and pulling out. So those are good. Like I said, I'm just most excited about I picture the person that never knew that they were supposed to be sick. Maybe the little kid that he got in earlier and never developed ADHD and never got bullied, never gained weight that they had to do, never had to go to, special schools and take this time out, and actually got to spend that time rather than trying to catch up, was out, playing in the yard and rewilding themselves. So that's my dream, and I'm glad that you're bringing that to fruition.
Yeah. Well, I think right now is the time more than any. I mean, again, you know it as well as I. Nutrition is a spoke in the wheel, but when you feel better, you do better. And that is one of the most common things that is reported. I feel better. It's better energy, better sleep. And when these are all little pieces and components, we all have the same amount of time in a day. How much time do you have to work on this stuff? That's the goal, is simplicity in this, accuracy, potency, science, yeah, I mean, transparency of what we're doing. And I'm really proud of my team, of where we've come from. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you should be. So with that thing said, we're going to peace out. Most people catch this on the replay. If you hear something that you want to do or remind you of somebody, just share it with them and let them get the information straight from the CEO's mouth, and we'll keep this going. If you have any more questions,
Yeah,
if you're
your
listening
phone
to this,
is
you're
on.
on my social.
We are streaming, right? So I heard you dinging some there because people. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting it going. All
All
right,
right.
we're going to end the stream. You guys have a great time, and peace out.
Maybe.